Hey, what is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports Gematria. In this video, I'm going to go over some fights for the pay-per-view event on Saturday, December 11th, 2021. I'm going to show you highlights of each side, and it's going to be up to you to determine who you think will win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed for you to feel confident in your own pick. And if for some reason you're curious to know who I'm picking in these games, you'll have to join my Patreon, where my picks are always in writing, underlined, and italicized. For more information on that, please read the description of this video. I wish you guys the best of luck in your picks today. Let's go ahead and get into the fights. We're going to be looking at the main event card, or the main card for UFC 269. We're going to look at all 5 of the pay-per-view event fights. We're going to go over all 5 of these. The way that I have my numbers structured here is on this side of the screen is what I call my daily numbers, date numerology, Gregorian, Hebrew calendar. And then on this side of the screen is what I call my game numbers, numbers specific to the game. So for example, the way that I have these fights structured, up top here is just the name of the event. I have the name of the event in writing, 269. I have the numbers for that. 269 mathematically is the 57th prime. I have a reminder for that. T-Mobile Arena, City State, Las Vegas, Nevada. I have the weight class right here. And then here's one fighter, their name Gematria, their birthday, to and from, their fight record, any type of winning or losing streak that they're on, as well as their UFC record. In the middle is the head-to-head Gematria between the two last names. And then at the bottom is another fighter, their name, birthday, fight record, winning streak, losing streak, UFC record. So we're going to start with the first fight, Shane versus Rullian. Rularian. I'm very bad at pronouncing fighters' names, so forgive me ahead of time. But let's look at the Rullian versus Sean fight first. And we're going to start with Sean O'Malley, and then we're going to go over... We're going to start with some numbers that would allow Sean O'Malley to win this fight, and then we're going to look at Rullian Paiva, what numbers would help him win this fight. Alright, so if we were going to start with Sean O'Malley, one thing that I would say is... today has 44 date numerology on the Gregorian. The number 44 written out sums to 144. And Shane can become, or Shane or Sean can become 7-1 for a UFC record with the win. If we write that number out, 71, that sums to 144 as well. Today with 44 date numerology, 44 sums to 144. So those two numbers are shared. And then I didn't see a whole lot for Shane, honestly. It's the 49th day of his 27-year-old age. Today was 64 date numerology. 64 sums to 49. So we have two date numerology Gregorian for Shane O'Malley potentially. Speaking of it being 44 date numerology, he can give Rullian his 4th loss for his career. And Shane, or Sean, can get his 3rd win in a row as he ends Rullian's 3-fight winning streak, as Rullian becomes 3-3 for a UFC record with a loss, like 33. So 3-3-3-33. Shane O'Malley, he can become 15-1 for a fight record in his career with the win. 151, mathematically, is the 36th prime number. I don't know if I saw anything pop up for 36. Maybe the 55. No. I didn't see a ton for it. No. It's 55, or a total span of 56 days since Rullian's birthday. But I didn't see anything really for the 151, honestly. 15. Sounds to 38, 65. 34. Didn't really see anything for that as well. The 15. I'm not really seeing anything for the 151 or the 15 for Sean, so it's hard to make a case for that. I guess one thing you can say is he can get his 15th win for his career as he gets his 3rd win in a row in his 16th fight. Seems like a lot to say, but if we type in the word 15, 15 sums to 38. And the number 163 is the 38th prime number. And so this is his 16th fight for his career. He can get his 3rd win in a row, 16-3. 163, the 38th prime, as he's getting his 15th win for his career. So I'll just mark that as a dark blue just to remind myself. That's most likely what would be the narrative for him if he were to win. 15 sums to 38. He can get his 15th win in his 16th fight. Get his 3rd win in a row, 16-3, or 163 is the 38th prime number. 15 sums to 38. Then he could become 7-1, like 71 on a day with 44 date numerology. It's also a day leaving 20 left in the Gregorian year. 71 sums to 144, just like 44 sums to 144, but 71 is the 20th prime number. So that could play in his favor as well. Then I suppose you can say, 15 to 38. 15 also sums to 124. He was born October 24th, which does look like a 124, but technically he can get that 15 at any time. It doesn't have to necessarily be today if you want to match it up with his birthday, the 124. The thing that will help him would be it being a 16th fight and him potentially getting his 3rd win in a row because of the 163 is the 38th prime number. Alright, so that's it for Shane for right now. Let's look at Rulian. His could be pretty straightforward if he were to get the upset here, because Paiva versus O'Malley in writing sums to 56 and 79. This will be the 56th day of Rulian's 26-year-old age, and he can get his 22nd win for his career. 79 is the 22nd prime number. 56, 79, Paiva versus O'Malley on the 56th day of his age. He can get his 22nd win for his career. There's potential there. Rulian can get his 4th win in a row as he ends Sean's 2nd 2-fight win streak, like 4-2, 2-4. And then Rulian can become 4-2, like 42 for a UFC record with the win. Let's see. If he does become 4-2 for a UFC record and he gets his 4th win in a row and Sean ends his 2-fight win streak like 4-2, like 42. If we write out the number 42, 42 sums to 142. And that's what Sean could be. He could become 14-2 for a fight record in his career with a loss. And 42 also sums to 74. And this will be the 7th day of the 4th month on the Hebrew civil side of the calendar, like 74. But as I was saying this, one thing just brought to light is going back to Shane O'Malley and the number 15, and how I said 15 sums to 124, and that he was born on October 24th, looks like a 124. One thing I failed to say is Rulian with the loss could become 21-4 for a fight record. 214 is just an anagram of 124. So that could play in favor for Shane O'Malley. But back to Rulian. Yeah, so Rulian would be basically the 56 and the 22. Paiva versus O'Malley, 56, 79, 79 the 22nd prime. And then you throw in the 42, they could become 4-2 as he gets his 4th win in a row, and Shane's 2-fight win streak like 42. 42 sums to 74, 7th day of the 4th month on the Hebrew civil. 42 also sums to 142, and Sean could become 14-2 with a loss. Emphasis on the 2 and the 2. 79, the 22nd prime number. So I think Sean has to be careful here. I think there's a very real upset narrative for Rulian. Those numbers look pretty good. But at the same time, even though it was kind of hard to, I had to kind of pick at Sean's numbers a little bit. That 15 going with his 16th fight and his third win in a row, as well as something I just picked up with the 214. 15 sums to 124. That could be just as good for Shane or Sean. So kind of a tricky match here. There's definitely an upset narrative here for sure. So be on the lookout for that. Let's go to the next fight. Kai Kara France versus Cody Carr Bronte. We're going to start with Cody first, and then we'll go to Kai. So the numbers that will allow Cody to win this fight is that, for one, it's a day with 10 date numerology on the Gregorian. Kai can get his 10th loss for his career. It's 157, or a total span of 158 days since Cody's last birthday. Today was 64 date numerology. 64 sums to 157. That may be a booster that can help him potentially. But I didn't see a whole lot for this fight. The first two fights, I actually saw a little bit for Sean as I started doing it. I'm not seeing a whole lot of numbers for this fight either. Not one that I would be rushing, especially for Cody's side or Kai's side. The only thing I really have is the 10 to go against Kai. The 134 or the 12.5, either way, I couldn't tell you, honestly. I don't know. I really can't do a back and forth on this fight. There's just no numbers here for me to really go off of. I apologize. I don't see anything. It's kind of a waste of time, honestly. I wouldn't bet on this fight. I wouldn't even watch this fight. It doesn't look interesting to me. I don't see anything for Cody. If Cody wins, then he wins. It's definitely not because of numbers, I wouldn't think. Other than maybe the 10 for Kai getting his 10th loss on a day with 10 date numerology. It's as far as I can take it, honestly. The 134 does nothing for me. The 84 does nothing for me. I mean, I guess you can say the 84 could be date numerology for Gregorian. 84, because 44 date numerology on the Gregorian. The sum divisors, if we go to 44, and we see the divisors for 44, 44, 22, 11, 4, 2, and 1. If we add those up, the sum divisors are, let me get my calculator out. 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 11 plus 22 plus 44. So if you add these numbers up, the divisors of 44, it sums to 84, the number 84. And with it being 44 date numerology on the Gregorian, Cody, he can become 8-4 for a UFC record with the win. And that's really the only connection I see for him. He can sit on 4 losses with the win for his career. So he can sit on 4. He could become 8-4 for a UFC record. The sum divisors mathematically for the number 44 sum to 84. And so that could be a potential for him. The number 44 sums to 99 and 45. And his opponent, Kai Kara France, sums to 99 and 54. And then maybe he can get that 10th loss. That's the only thing, the narrative I can paint for Cody would be the 44, the 84, him sitting on 4 losses. Which doesn't sound so bad, I guess, if you think about it, the 4 and the 4. And that's about it for Cody, honestly. Kai Kara France, if he was going to win this fight, he has some interesting numbers, but I don't know if I would trust him. T-Mobile Arena sums to 52. The weight class for this fight is flyweight, which sums to 52. With the win, he'd become 23-9 for not a UFC record, but he'd become 23-9 for a fight record in his career. 23-9 is the 52nd prime number. 239, 52nd prime number. And then Cody Garbrandt sums to 75, and he could become 7-5 for a UFC record with a loss. And those would be those numbers. Not very interesting, I know. I apologize. You have to kind of dig for Cody's numbers a little bit with the 44. And with Kai's numbers, the 52, it looks interesting, but I don't know if I necessarily trust it. And I've seen this connection, 75. Cody Garbrandt becomes 7-5 for a UFC record. I've seen that connection both win and lose. So I take it for a grain of salt. I don't invest too much into it, but it is there. And I think that's it for this one. Let's keep it moving. This video is getting kind of long. I apologize. So let's go to Geoff Neal and Santiago Ponzinibbio. So we're going to start with Santiago, and then we'll go to Geoff. If Santiago is going to win this fight, he'd probably get his 30th win for his career as he becomes 11-3 for a UFC record. 11-3 or 113, mathematically speaking, is the 30th prime number. So he can get his 30th win for his career as he becomes 113, like 103, the 30th prime. This is UFC 269, and his name, Santiago Ponzinibbio, sums to 296. 296 is just an anagram of 269, UFC 269. On top of that, he was born on September 26th, which is 9/26 or 26/9. So you have this 269 for his birthday. You have this 296 for his name, Gematria. This is UFC 269, so it could be a good thing for him to get his 30th win as he becomes 11-3 for a UFC record. 113, the 30th prime number. What else? I think that might be it for him. The 13-5 for Geoff Neal, I didn't see anything really. The 53, I didn't really see anything. Nothing really stood out to me. I think that's it for Santiago. Santiago has the pay-per-view event numbers 296, 926, UFC 269. He also sums to 107, and it's the 7th day of the 10th month on the Hebrew religious, like 710 or 10/7. So yeah, I would think it'd be the 30 and the 113 would be his favor. For Geoff Neal, if Geoff Neal was going to win this fight, it would just be the 14-4, the 144. Date numerology of 44 in the Gregorian, 44 sums to 144. He could become 14-4 for a fight record in his career, like 144. If he does pick up that 14th win, 14 sums to 104. And Santiago could become 10-4, like 104, for a UFC record with a loss. 10-4, like 104. If Geoff gets his 14th win and becomes 14-4. Geoff could end his 2-fight losing streak in his 18th fight, 18-2, 2-18, 1-8-2, 2-8-1, 2-1-8. It's a popular number that I've been following. 182. 218, 128. That could be in favor for Geoff. I think that's it for this fight. Not a whole lot going on for some of these fights. Not all of them. Fights aren't very obvious like some have been in the past. But let's keep it going. Amanda Nunes versus Giuliana Pina. I don't know if I should even go over Giuliana's numbers. I didn't see anything for her at all. And Amanda Nunes is such a huge favorite in this fight. It's probably not even worth looking at. It's probably not even worth betting on. I don't know if Giuliana, numbers or no numbers, I don't think she really has a chance either way. But we'll just look at Amanda Nunes' numbers. Her name, Amanda Nunes, Sums to 107. 7th day of the 10th month on the Hebrew religious, like 710, 10/7. This is UFC 269 co-main event. 269 sums to 271 and 242. 271 mathematically is the 58th prime number. Amanda Nunes, she could become 22-4 for a UFC, not a UFC record, but she could become 22-4 for a fight record in her career. 224 is just an anagram of 242, this being UFC 269. And then it being the 57th prime number, 269, the 57th prime. As being a fight versus Nunes versus Pina, which sums to 57. 242, 22-4. 269 sums to 271, the 58th prime number. And if we spell out 58, it sums to 115. Giuliana Pina could become 11-5, like 115 with the loss on the 115th day of her current age. It seems pretty straightforward. One thing I suppose that could trip up and be the biggest upset of the night would be that Nunes versus Pina sums to 42. 42. And 42 sums to 142. And Amanda Nunes could become 14-2 for a UFC record with a loss, as Giuliana becomes 12-4 for a fight record in her career. 124, just an anagram of 142. Nunes versus Pina sums to 42. 42 sums to 142. I would say that's really the only edge that Giuliana Pina has. Outside of that, I expect her on the 115th day of her age to become 11-5 for a fight record in her career. It seems pretty straightforward. UFC 269, 269 sums to 242. Amanda Nunes could become 224 for a fight record, which is just an anagram of 242. That's about it for that one, I suppose. Let's go to the main event. Charles versus Dustin. Kind of similar to another fighter. If we go back down here to Santiago, which his name sums to 296. He was born on 26/9. UFC 269, all anagrams of each other. Dustin, he could become 29-6 for a fight record in his career. 296 is just an anagram of 269. This is UFC main event for 269. He could become 29-6 for a fight record in his career with the win. I would say that's the biggest edge that he has, is the 296, which is just an anagram of the 269. He can get his 21st UFC win for his career. 21st win for a UFC record. 21 sums to 141, just like 28 sums to 141. 28 date numerology on the Gregorian. There could potentially be a connection there. This is Oliveira versus Poirier. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. Poirier. You can yell at me in the comment section if you want. But Oliveira versus Poirier sums to 237 and 111. This being a day, the 273rd day of the Hebrew religious, a day leaving 111 left. 273 is just an anagram of 237. And then you have the 111. So perfect day on the Hebrew for this main event to take place. And let's see here. I suppose with 44 date numerology on the Gregorian, 44 sums to 99. Charles Oliveira can get his 9th loss for his career as he ends his 9-fight win streak, picking up his 9th UFC loss for his career as well. He could become 19-9 for a UFC record with the loss, like 199, the 46 prime number. If we pop in 46, 46 sums to 44 today with date numerology. 44 sums to 99. So it just kind of comes back in a circle. Dustin would get his 4th win in a row for his career on a day with 44 date numerology. 46 sums to 44. Charles could become 19-9 for a UFC record. 19-9, 199, the 46 prime. And that might be it for Dustin. The biggest edge for Dustin is that 29-6 record. If he becomes 296 at UFC event 269, which is just anagrams of each other, it's pretty straightforward. For Charles, though, to win this fight, he can get his 10th win in a row for his career on a day with 10 date numerology for the Gregorian. It's 310 days till his next birthday. He can get his 10th win in a row as he ends Dustin's 3-fight winning streak, 3-10, 10-3. 310 days till his 33rd birthday. It's a day leaving 20 left in the Gregorian. Dustin could sit on 20 UFC wins with a loss. It's a day with 28 date numerology on the Gregorian, a day leaving 20 left in the Gregorian year. Dustin can sit on 28 wins for his career with the loss as he sits on 20 UFC wins with the loss. Both of these guys are 32 years old. Charles is 32 years old. Dustin is 32 years old. Could be the reason why Charles gets his 32nd win for his career in this fight. And in regards to 10 date numerology, Charles getting his 10th win in a row. This is Charles's 29th UFC fight. 29 is the 10th prime number. And so that could play in his favor. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, so Charles has a lot of Gregorian stuff that could go in his favor. Dustin has some Gregorian stuff that can go against him. Charles can get that 20th win, keep Dustin on 20 on a day leaving 20 left. And even if you write out 20 sums to 107, which is the 28th prime number, as well as 28 in general. Today with 28 date numerology, a day leaving 20 left. It could go against Dustin sitting on that 28 wins, sitting on 20 UFC wins. Charles can get his 20th UFC win. Both of these guys are 32 years old. Charles can get his 32nd win. But I will say, if Charles does lose, he could become 31-9. 319 is just an anagram of 193. 193 is the 44th prime number. Today does have 44 date numerology on the Gregorian. It is UFC 269. Dustin could become 29-6. So hopefully this video helps. I know the first couple fights, not a whole lot of numbers for some of these fights. Not the best of looks for some of these fights. And the ones that do seem obvious, like this one, Giuliana Pina, 115 on 115th day of her age, becomes 11-5. This one seems the most obvious, but of course, betting wise, it's the most ridiculous money line. You probably wouldn't even want to bet it. That's what's hard about value in Gematria and value in sports betting, because in Gematria, this 115 would be considered value. However, in sports betting on Amanda Nunes at a minus 800 isn't value in a sense. So you really have to find that line where value in sports betting and value in Gematria cross, which could be difficult. And then for the main event, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this gives you an insight of what's going on with these fights. Sorry it wasn't a little bit more detailed. Sometimes you just get these fights and these events that just don't have a whole lot of numbers that I can just pull from. So you kind of have to dig a little bit deeper, get a little bit more creative. And some of the surface level numbers probably aren't it. You're going to have to get a little creative and really think about what it is that these numbers are trying to tell you. But hopefully, again, this helps. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. Sorry for the long video. And I wish you guys the best of luck on all your picks for this weekend.